Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Arakak Wadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone, and as well as the bishops that have taught us. All right. And even unto the rest of the elect, the 144,000, and as well as the 130 do follow. And it's your brother Laban, just to be quick with that. And I just want to respond to Yakanunen's video, which he's an elder in this thing. He's been in this thing for a while, right? And, basically what I want to speak on is this video, of course, because as the title has it, this is why we have the 12 tribe chart. Because, we're here to, yes, give warning from the Lord, but as well as to awaken our people to the idea, which is a fact, that they're the Israelites, because the Lord is about to make a second return. So before that is even said, his knowledge has to be declared in the earth. All right. As it is written in the Apocrypha, that the truth, which was so long without fruit, have sprung up. And what is the truth? The ultimate truth is the fact that the so-called blacks, the so-called Latinos, and Native American Indians are indeed the Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks about. And the elites have spent millions of dollars, and if not probably billions of dollars, to hide this information. But through divine order, as it has had it, is that this truth is declared. All right. Esau has tried effortlessly to put a stronghold on this truth, but the truth came into being anyway. Because it's about that time of the awakening of the tribes to their Lord and their Savior, because their Savior is on his way. All right. So I want to get into the point of this lesson, and we're going to begin by reading Ezekiel 37:1. The hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, they were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And the valley represents figuratively a low land, moralistically referring to Babylon. That's where the rest of the tribes are at. All right. And of course, we awakened in the areas that we awakened in. Even though, as you can hear by the sound of my voice, I'm from the States originally. But, I was raised here, too. I got family over here. My father, he's an African-American, so-called. And my mother, she's a Benjamite from Jamaica, and she happens to have relatives over here, as it's been since the Windrush period. You had a lot of Benjamites that came over and stayed here ever since then. All right. And lo, they were very dry. In other words, they didn't have the oil. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O power, Yahweh, thou knowest. And again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the words of the Lord. And that's what this brother's doing. That's what we're all out here doing. But this is an example. This video is an example, because when they came up, the first thing that the brother said, are you guys, that you guys are Israelites? All right. And that's what we're supposed to let our people know, is that they're Israelites that the Bible speaks about. Now it's up to them whether they want to hear or forbid, because the elect are going to adhere to the words of truth, and they're going to be enlightened and quickened to the idea that they are the Israelites, which is, again, the truth. OK, because it's time to wake up. It's time to, put away the old man and take on the new creature. And that's what we've taken on board. And that new creature is going to be after the ways of the Lord. But in that, we're calling ourselves the prince of the power. And we're walking as such. All right. Being the Israelites once again resurrected, as it is written, that the Lord is going to what? Figuratively speak, open our graves, because spiritually we're going to be revived from being in a dead state. What does it mean to be in a dead state? As it is written in the book of Proverbs somewhere, where it mentions that they that remain out of the understanding thereof shall remain in the congregation of the dead. So if you don't have the acknowledgement of this truth, you're a dead person spiritually. So it's time to be awakened, alive again. All right? Because an Israelite is going to know, to be an Israelite, you have to know your power, and you have to know the commandments and everything which comes from your higher power. And therefore, you're going to serve your higher power, which is what, again, an Israelite is going to do. Okay? And by that truth, which is going to proceed from the mouth of the prophet, which we are coming back, you're going to take heed to the words of the Lord, and all of the tribes, whoever you may come out of, what particular area you may come out of, what tribe, you're going to be what? Taking on board the same doctrine, which is what we're bringing about, which is the truth, is going to gather all of the tribes together in one. Breaking down that dividance, breaking down the dividency of the tribes. Okay? And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord Yahweh, thou knowest. And again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the words of the Lord. And thus saith the Lord, power unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. And what is that breath? That breath is basically the spirit of life, which is known as the Holy Spirit. Now let's read Revelations 11 and 11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them. See? And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. So that spirit of life, again, is the Holy Spirit, which is what Ezekiel was saying, it being the breath, had entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them. And since that I've read that, what I want to also do is I want to read this verse over here, which is in verse 10. So I prophesied, just to connect with Revelations 11:11, as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood up upon their feet, an exceeding great army. And the most poignant part of this knowledge is knowing what? The name of your power. Hence his name is Yahweh, which means he is to exist, or he is to be. So if you really want to live and exist, you have to know the name of your power, because even in the name represents everything which is of this truth, which is life. All right. Which your power is a power of life. So to know your power, guess what? You're going to be walking in the ways of righteousness, which will lead to eternal life. Hence is why he sent his son to die on a cross to provide that for us. All right. So we're alive and well when we know the ways of the Most High, which we know that his name is Yahweh. That's his true name, which means he is to be, or he is to exist. So if you want to exist, you have to learn the ways of the existing one to exist. All right. With saying that, let's continue to read on in verse 5. Thus saith the Lord, power unto these bones, which the bones represents the tribes of Israel. Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. Right? So let's look up this word live. H2331. This is the one I was looking for. The word is hawa. To tell, declare, show, make known, to breathe. Which they have here, hawa, properly to live, by implication, intensively to declare or show. Let's look up another word then. Let's do this. Let's do this. I think that's the same one right here. Yeah, Chaya, which means to live. Yeah, I've looked at it already. All right, let me do this instead. Lord, let's do this. Right. So you have the word Yahweh, right? Which is the existing one, the proper name of the one true God, unpronounced except with the vowels pointing. Yeah, so you have the word Yahweh, which means he is to be or to exist, as they have it, which is correct, the existing one. So now let's look up this root word here. This is the word I was looking for right here. So it's quite similar, but the pronunciation is different. The word is Haya or Hawa, which to be, become, come to pass, exist, happen, to fall out. To happen, to fall out, occur, take place, come about, come to pass. So it just means to exist. Okay? When something exists, something has come into being. And for something to come into being, it would have to what? Be brought to life. So when we go back to this over here, you see how it looks quite similar, but it's not, the word is different. The word is Chaya. All right. Which means to have life, to continue in life, remain alive. So it's in relation to the word Haya. But the one in Ezekiel 37, the Strong's definition of this word is Chaya rather than Haya. And the meaning is very similar as well. The pronunciation is different because it's got the Cha on it. But the one with the word Haya is, especially the one coming from the name of the Lord, or half of the name of the Lord, is higher instead. Or should I say, the pronunciation Haya, which is from the name of the Lord, means to come into being. So when you look up the word, when you look at both of the words, Chaya and Haya, it's very similar. All right. So the most important part of this knowledge is knowing the name of the Lord. And that's what the tribes of Israel are going to return into knowing again. Okay. So once again, let's go back and we're going to read on in verse 6. And I will lay sinews upon you, and I will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Yahweh. That's the true name of the Lord, with all caps. So the sinews upon you, and the flesh, as it reads, I will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, represents you keeping the law, statutes, and commandments outwardly. And the breath represents the spirit of life, which basically comes from Yahweh Shai, who is the word which will be placed within you. When you entail this knowledge in your mind, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. So I prophesied, and I was commanded. And as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking. And the bones came together, bone to his bone. In other words, tribe to tribe. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them, but there was no breath in them. So you have Israelites that are waking up knowing that they're Israelites, and they'll keep the commandments, but they don't have the spirit upon them. Just like how you have it right now. You have the rest of these other camps, and just even people that know they're Israelites, they're on a basic level. They're not on the same level as the members of Great Millstone actually getting into what is said in the knowledge. All right. So there's a group of Israelites that's going to be given the skin, the outward, and as well as even the spirit of life, which is the breath. And then you're going to have those that's going to be given the skin, which represents the outward appearance of them being Israelites, keeping the law, statutes, commandments, but the spirit ain't going to be on them. Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind. Why? Because throughout the 4 winds, the children of Israel have been scattered abroad. And what does the heavy lifting? Is the internet. To liberate the rest of our nation from the 4 winds of the earth to receiving this truth, from the bondage of lies, that they're, another name. And therefore, being that they're calling themselves another name that the enemy have given them, now they're living up to the narratives of their enemy, according to that name. All right. Son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, power. And just to substantiate what I meant by the wind, the 4 winds, right? Let's go and get another precept. And let's go into the blue letter. Oh, it actually goes into it in verse 9. Okay. Yeah, verse 9, it goes into it. All right. Yeah, so as it reads, yeah, it was actually right there, man. It was looking directly at me. Salakia for that. Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say unto the wind, thus saith the Lord, power, come from the 4 winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain that they may live. That's all of the tribes of Israel, right? Because all of the tribes have been scattered abroad throughout the 4 corners of the earth, as it is mentioned in the book of James 1:1. To the 12 tribes scattered abroad, greetings, when he wrote those words. Ezekiel 37 and verse 10. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army. So you have camps around the world that are raising up from their ruins, and raising up from their ruins by proclaiming the words of their Lord and heralding his coming as they stand upon their feet. All right. And you have camps that have become large. Some camps are not so big. You have camps that, maybe have a few men in it, like maybe 3 or 5 men in it. All right. But you got camps that are like camps that have 10 men. Some camps have 20, 30, 40 men. So when you put all of them camps together, it amounts to a great amount of men that's actually taking the stand to preach the gospel of the kingdom. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army. And that's what it looks like. Verse 11, then he said unto me, son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. And behold, they say our bones are dried and our hope is lost. That's what the other nations are saying. Oh, these people will never amount to nothing. They're hopeless people. Look how they act and conduct themselves. For we are cut off for our parts. And therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, my people, I will open your graves. Again, let's read Revelations 11 again. Revelations 11, and we will read verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds of tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, which is from the period of the major transatlantic slave trade to the time of 1969 to 70, when Abba Bivens came on the scene and brought the sons back to their fathers again, as it is mentioned in the book of Malachi, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. Who is Elijah, which is forth to come? All right, which I forgot to mention. So as it is written, once again, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. Right? Because there's going to be a revival happening among the tribes. The reason why you would put a body in the grave, because it's dead, it's not coming back to life again. But it says that I will not put you in graves. Why? Because there's going to be a revival of the nation of Israel, which is that body. So now let's read the book of Hosea, the 6th chapter. KJV online once again. Right. Hosea chapter 6. I'll begin by reading verse 1. Come and let us return unto the Lord, for he hath torn and he will heal us, and he hath smitten and he will bind us up. And who's gonna return to the Lord? Pursuant to the book of Isaiah chapter 10, the remnant shall return. And after 2 days will he revive us. And the 2 days is referring to the the second millennium, which when Abba Bivens came on the scene, that was that time period when he was revived. And in the 3rd day, he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. And we've been raised up. We're in the 3rd day right now. Okay. When you look at the millennium that we're in the 3rd millennium, because it's over 2001. And so, even in Esau's calendar, it applies that we're in the 3rd day. And we've been raised up. And we shall live in his sight. And then shall we know, if we follow unto the Lord Yahweh, his goings forth is prepared as the morning. And he shall come unto us as the rain, and as the latter and the former rain unto the earth. And there it is. So going back to the book of Revelations 11. And as this reads, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud. And their enemies beheld them, and as well as those that died in the Lord, pursuant to the book of 2 Thessalonians, if I'm correct, the 4th chapter, where it mentions that the dead and the anointed shall rise first, and to those that remain alive shall mount up towards them in the cloud. And all of this will be had among the elect, who is of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And out of each tribe, you will have 12,000 men, which is mentioned in the book of Revelations, the 7th chapter. All right. But prior before that, we must receive the breath of life. So let's continue on with this over here, because the point is the reunion of the southern and the northern kingdom, which is the topic. And the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick, and write it upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel and his companions. And that stick is referring to the 12 tribe sign that we hold, which usually it would be a wooden plank. Not literally a stick, but a wooden plank with all of the tribes, or the names of the tribes listed. Now, during the time of Ezekiel the prophet, there was no need to write on the plank of the tribes of Israel, because all of the tribes of Israel at the time knew that they were the Israelites. It's in the time now that this should be done, because we've lost our heritage, as it is mentioned in the book of Jeremiah, which Jeremiah prophesied that would be the case, that we would lose our heritage. Here it is, Jeremiah 17:4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, which is also in relation to Deuteronomy 28 and 64. And the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there shalt thou serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So how would this fully be done? By the mere fact that the curse would come upon us, that we would discontinue from our heritage, not knowing who we originally were, before we went to fully serve these gods. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in a land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. In other words, for a long duration of time, not literally forever, because if that was the case, then we would not know that we're the Israelites right now. So there it is. So this is the reason why in this time, in this generation, prior before, even towards the time when we were captives as slaves, and we lost our heritage. Some of us had their heritage, but they didn't have the 100% of it. So overall, you can say, or I can say that our people lost their heritage. That's why we were calling ourselves for the longest time African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, or so-called West Indians, or Latino people, Hispanic, North American Indians, because we lost our heritage. So now, being that because we've lost our heritage in this generation, especially in this time, now is appropriate to bring the sign out, because there's a lot of our people that still don't know that they're the Israelites due to the curse that came upon us all of discontinuing from our heritage. So now as this reads, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah, the kingdom of Judah, and the children of Israel, the other 10 tribes, and his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, which is Ephraim, and the stick of Ephraim, and for all of the house of Israel and his companions, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. Right. So instead of it being a northern and a southern kingdom, the kingdom is one. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? And just to mention as well, in the States, for the longest time, and it's still ongoing to this moment of time, but not as strong as it used to in the past, though. You have a disunionship of all of the tribes. You have a disunionship between the Southern Kingdom and the Northern Kingdom, right? You have so-called black people that in America that think that they're better than the so-called Latino people, and vice versa, right? And even among the kingdoms, the Southern and the Northern Kingdom, they think that they're better than each other. So there's this complete disunionship. But you see, when the truth was made aware to us, that we learned that we was all brothers and sisters and one people. And it was by the word that we're gathered as in being the one people. Okay. Verse 19, say unto them, thus saith the Lord power Yahweh, behold, I will take this stick of Ephraim, which is in the hand of Ephraim, which is the other 10 tribes. Ephraim is the top tribe of the Northern Kingdom, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, which Judah is the head tribe of the Southern Kingdom, Benjamin and Levi, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand, and the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. And this is where this comes in. See, the brother got that big sign showing our people where they fit in. And then he calls them and asks them, he calls them to let them know, look, you know that you're Israelites, right? So that's the prophecy. That's the prophecy in effect in this generation. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in that hand before their eyes. See? There it is. Once again. So now let's go back. 21. And say unto them, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and I will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land, as well as it's written in the book of, if I'm correct, Isaiah, where it reads that, let me see if I can pull it, because I'm gonna butcher it. So let me go and get that. Salakia. It's Micah 4:6. In that day saith the Lord Yahweh, will I assemble her that halteth, and I will gather her that is driven out, and have that I have afflicted. Zephaniah 3:19. Behold, at the time I will undo all that afflict thee, which is the heathen, and I will save her that halteth, and gather her that was driven out, and I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame, in the lands that they were scattered abroad in. Okay, so the word halteth, is from the word tazala, to be limp, to be lame, primitive root, to limp, as if one-sided halt. Right. So it just means to be lame. So when the tribes were broken apart, originating back to the curse of Solomon, because Solomon went and worshipped them gods, onto his concubines, which I believe, to be exact, he fell in love with his concubine, which was an Ammonite, and worship them gods of the Ammonites. Okay, so after that came into being, the curse came where you had you had Jeroboam and Jeroboam, which split up the tribes. And ever since that point, they've been disassembled. So now the Lord, through the word, which out of the word there comes what? The spirit of life, which came out of this truth, has brought us all together as one nation. Okay, so now, verse 21. Once again, and I say unto them, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. So this proves that we got to be those people, because we're not at home. And that also proves that the people that are already in the land right now cannot be the people, because the way that they would get to the land is by divine power, which will be had through the Son of the Most High. The Son of the Most High is going to bring the rest of the elect to the land, not by the British government. Ezekiel 37 and verse 22. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And that king is King David. And behind King David will be Yahushua, which he's the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. So that's all I'm going to read right there. That's all I'm going to read right there. And I just said that as well. So yeah, that's all I'm going to read. That's all I'm going to read. Yeah. So now let's even read this. And this is one of the things out of many that Sirach has prayed for. And this is Sirach 36 and verse 11. Gather all the tribes of Jacob together, and inherit thou them, as from the beginning. And this is what the Lord is doing. And this is why the Lord has sent his seers out in the street to proclaim that message to our people, that they are indeed the Israelites. Now, with that being said, they will either hear or forbear. And if they hear it, then it's for their salvation. If they forbear it, it's for their destruction. Because the time is going to come where no one is going to be able to say, they didn't know. You did know because we was on the street, live and direct with you. Or you saw us on the internet. So there's not going to be an excuse. Okay. But that message, the point that I'm making on this right here, is that the message is being made clear that we are all of the tribes of Jacob, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. We are the children of Israel, the real Israelites that the Bible speaks about, and we're being gathered together in one by the word of Yahweh Shai. Gather all the tribes of Jacob together and inherit thou them as from the beginning. And that's what the Lord is doing. Now let's even speak on that furthermore. And we're going to read the book of Isaiah 11 and verse 12. And this is what we're going to end it off on. And he shall set up an enzyme for the nation. The word enzyme, which means an example. So let's look up this word enzyme. Right. Nas, which means a sign. Something lifted up, standard, signal, pole, and sign, banner, sign, cell. And one of the signs is the 12 tribe chart. That is the plank that we're showing to our people. And on that plank, there you have the names listed. So when our people walk, they'll see the sign, and then they'll have it in mind to stop to see what's going on with the sign and what is the messenger saying. Okay. And even the messengers of the Lord have put on the streets, the prophets, are also a sign, as Ezekiel was a sign. All right. So that's what it is. A sign or an example. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to continue to read on. Just trying to find where I left off at. Because sometimes it does this, man, where, you click on another tab and then you click on this tab and it takes you to a different area. Yeah, it's verse 12. So let's read this again. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. And the envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. Which goes right ahead with Ezekiel 37. Okay. And David will be their king, which will be sent over them. So that's all I got to read right here. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Marakak, Pradash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great Knowstone that have taught us this truth. And before I leave, what I forgot to say is the fact that the Lord, that's exactly what he's basically doing right now. He's bringing back the tribes together as in the days of before. Because as in the days of before, who did you have on the scene as the king of Israel? King David. And as it is also written in the book of, Ecclesiastes, right? There is no new thing under the sun, saying that it is new. It have already been of old time. And guess what? It reads, the thing that is have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done that which is shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. So just to say it correctly there in reading that. So what's going to be had eventually is that unionship of the tribes will be. And guess what? King David is going to be raised up on the scene. And Yahweh Shah is going to be above him and behind him. All right. And this is all going to be done through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmiah Shai. So there it is. That's all I got to say with this. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Maharakah Quadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone, and as well as even including the bishops that taught us this truth through the spirit, which is the Rakah Quadash, and Shalom to the rest of the elect, whom is 144,000, and as well as the 1/3 that do follow. Shalom.